All right, there we go, you guys. Welcome back to my channel. I'm just going to stop the music for a little bit there. It's time for our weekly recap of Vanderpump Rules. Listen, and I just saw your comment, by the way, Tish. Thank you so much. You know, I really enjoy chatting about this show with you guys as well. So it goes both ways. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know if you have a TikTok or not, Tish, but I stream the episodes on TikTok as well, because here on YouTube, they've got all these copyright rules, but on TikTok, it's a lot easier. So like this afternoon at around, I want to say like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. like Eastern, I was streaming the episode, and it was so fun to watch along with my followers. Hey, Her Story. I'm so glad you made it. So what did you guys think of the episode overall? Like, if you were to rate last night's episode of Vanderpump Rules on a scale from 1 to 10, where would you put it? I personally would rate it like a solid, I'm thinking like a solid 9, because I felt like this season, they're going like all the way in, and they're starting from the very beginning. We're only 3 episodes in, and we've already got like the villain arc set up, right? We've got 3 villains this season. They are Sheena, Shay, Raquel, Leviss, and of course, Tom Schwartz. And Ariana did a wonderful job, by the way, calling out Tom Schwartz and how everyone else is going to take the fall and look like the ultimate victim, while he gets to play poor little lost, confused, dopey puppy dog as usual and get away with his rotten behavior. I loved Ariana calling that out. Did anybody else kind of like stand up like, yes, that's our girl, when you heard that? Hi, Mr. Rogers, Neighborhood Watch. Nice to have you again. Hi, Paris. There's so much drama in the end that exactly. And that's what I love about it. There was so much going on constantly. And it was incredibly, incredibly juicy. Hey, Stephanie, nice to have you here again. Oh, I love having my regulars here. We've got like a nice, sweet, cute little tight-knit community, and I'm obsessed. So, you guys, I have to say that I felt hurt and traumatized for Katie while I watched this episode play out. And you know why? She is obviously very distressed at the idea of this happening. Tom Schwartz and Raquel Leviss making out. And she's supposed to be friends with these girls, right? Like, she goes out to have drinks with these girls and whatnot. And now she's hearing that Sheena, for whatever reason, I said this earlier on TikTok, but I feel as though I don't understand why Sheena is so bothered by this, right? Like, she has so many potential like things to worry about in her relationship with Brock that it's odd to me that this is what she's choosing to make her storyline this season. It's always a big pet peeve of mine when it comes to reality TV, when people choose to make other people's lives and relationships their entire storyline. You know, it's like you've got this going on, you've got that going on. Your man, he's still alleged, like I heard that he just got caught up on child support. Why don't we talk about that, you know, before we worry about whether or not Raquel and Tom are going to kiss? It just felt like very thirsty on Sheena's end. By the way, I do want to ask you, hey, Jasmine, nice to see you again. I want to ask you, because I feel as though some of you guys are probably like more like in tune with the gossip and stuff than I am. But for those of you who know, have you heard about like the idea that Sheena may have been demoted from the show, and that's why this is what she has to focus on? Apparently the viewers don't take too kindly to her husband Brock, and so they have kind of like said, Sheena, your storyline, the only thing we're going to cover when it comes to the Brock situation is the wedding, and outside of that, we need you to be involved in like the stuff that other people have going on. I've heard that, and I don't know if you guys noticed, we're only 3 episodes in, but it is true that we haven't seen too much of Sheena so far. You know what I mean? And I wonder if that is the reason. Paris says, Katie says what she said months ago, but she didn't ask her friend to do what she did. wait a second. Can you rephrase this? Katie says what she said months ago, but she didn't ask her friend to do what she did. Here's the thing, like, you know, I hope, I don't know if this is where you're going, but like my thing was with Sheena, like, even if Katie said that to you at a certain point, now here she is telling you something different, which is that this makes her uncomfortable. You as a friend, you see in her face that this woman is distressed. Like, you see that she's really suffering with the idea of this. Like, she's still heartbroken over the entire situation. So why are you still even trying to push it forward anyway? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. Like, I know that they released the text messages and whatnot, and then like in the text messages, I believe it was Katie herself who released them. But in the text messages, she's saying that, like, okay, well, I don't feel this way right now, right? And it's like, do you not give your friends the opportunity to change their minds on things? You know what I mean? Especially something like that. Like, maybe she was drunk and just, you know, saying whatever at the time. I don't know. Oh, Tish is from California. Sunny California. How awesome. Sheena likes to stir up drama. That's exactly what it is. I used to go to bat for Sheena all the time and just like really like, I used to, I don't know if I played dumb or if I like fell victim to her charm, right? But now, like in this season, I'm really seeing her as being like someone who just likes to stir up drama and play innocent, which is really annoying because in doing that, you are insulting people's intelligence, right? Like, they can see right through you and your plan at this point. And so just playing dumb about it is absolutely ridiculous. I will get into a little bit more detail about a specific case where she was like blatantly playing dumb that really pissed me off. But I digress. Some people have happy divorces. Well, that's the thing. This could have been a happy divorce. It was all set up to be a happy divorce. However, Tom decided to violate Katie's boundaries with this divorce, right? So I don't really like, I don't get why he even decided to do that in the first place. I don't know. It just kind of feels like, was it like a thing that he did for a storyline or something like that? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's like, was it worth making Katie feel this way at the end of the day? I personally would not think so. But that's the thing about Tom Schwartz. It's like Ariana called out. Tom Schwartz is someone who purposely pushes buttons and does things that he knows are wrong and then plays stupid about it and lets everyone else look like the bad guy. Like, how many times has Katie looked like the bad guy, the crazy person, the this, that, and the other? When it's Tom behind the scenes who's driving her crazy, right? Like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of him at all. He's kind of like Sheena, where they play dumb. They some people call this, the expression they use is they throw rocks and hide their hands. Yeah, like you could say that, or they just play dumb. Yeah, I'm here. I haven't watched the show yet, but who cares? I made it live. Hi, Michelle. Nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Jazz says, is that why Sheena doesn't have her own scenes? Because she got demoted? That is the word on the street. It has not been confirmed yet. But that is the word on the street, because I have been wondering, like, it kind of feels like she's being treated like a friend of or something like that. Like, where's like her drama and whatnot? Like, she's supposed to be wedding planning and we're not yet getting into that story or anything like that. But it's no surprise that the public is not feeling her fiance Brock. Like, people feel like he is a grifter and that he's just not like a likable person in general. A lot of people don't like the story about him abandoning his children and whatnot, like a lot of stuff. Now, you guys, let's get into this Graham situation. So at the beginning of the episode, we find out from Raquel that the reason why Graham hasn't really been eating or moving that much at home is because he's got some kind of a puncture wound on his neck, which was really, really sad to find out. By the way, we've got Say What on TikTok who says if Katie wants to put a boundary in, she needs to be the one to step back. That's what I said. Listen, when this season debuted, I said, listen, if you want to divorce someone, you can't act like you need to be best friends. Like, when you're with someone romantically for like 12 years, as long as they've been, it's just too much to go back to being friends, especially so soon, to put pressure on yourselves to behave this way, which is wholly unnatural when you've got so many emotions and like resentment and anger and rage and just disappointment flying all over the place. Like, they were trying to have these friendship dates where they see each other once a month, this, that. It was all too much. It was ridiculous, and it was bound to fail. I know that they were well-intentioned, but it was bound to fail because it's just not sustainable when you're going through this. Like two heartbroken people acting like they're supposed to be lifelong best friends. Please give me a damn break. So she did say this to Lisa Vanderpump, by the way, Raquel, that the dog had the puncture wound in his neck when she took him to the vet. Listen, why don't we skip right ahead because this was actually quite juicy. I wondered why that was. It was interesting to me that Lisa didn't ask, but we find out from from her visit with James Kennedy a little bit later at the park, that it's because Graham had been like boarded at a like doggy daycare and he wanted to get away, presumably to get back and be reunited with Raquel. And so he was digging under a fence and I guess like he got like kind of like snagged by like one of the things of the fence or whatever, which sounded so damn painful. Hi, Ali Lucy. She says, Tom and Katie disrespected each other the whole marriage. Now they want to respect boundaries. Weird. It's crazy, right? Especially when you have Tom Schwartz, when Sheena is talking to him in the kitchen and whatnot about like Katie hooking up with other people and whatnot. He's acting so shocked and devastated. Meanwhile, this man was cheating on her throughout their entire dating relationship and their marriage on several different occasions. Like, give me a break with your fake ass, broken, cheating ass heart, okay? Like, you were such a liar. Now, jumping a little bit back to Lisa Vanderpump's discussion with Raquel, she, similarly to what she did with Peter about like, inter-restaurant hookups, she says, listen, Raquel, you know better. And girl, you're seeming kind of lost since your breakup. So I need you to get it together because what you're doing is just not a good look. And so Raquel starts crying about her breakup with James and whatnot and how she feels lost. And so two things that were going through my mind during the scene. I don't know if you guys were thinking the same things, but number one was this. Later on, Raquel is going to start making out with two different people who, well, first she's gonna start making out with a married man who works at SUR. Lisa already told her not to make out with her manager or people at work in general, but she's gonna go do it, and then this time it's gonna be a married man. And then the second time it's gonna be a man who's freshly going through a divorce. It's not finalized yet. Feelings are still everywhere. And she used to vacation. She used to party with him and his wife. She would invite them to her puppy showers and whatnot. They were there for her engagement. She was around these people as a married couple and whatnot. And this is what she's going to do behind Katie's back. I'm sorry, you guys, but I find that just plain heartless. And so Raquel admits that she is feeling lost and vulnerable and still in love with James. And it makes you wonder, is that why she doesn't care who she hurts? Whether it's Oliver's wife or whether it's Tom's soon-to-be ex-wife? With her actions, is that what's going on? I don't know, but it does kind of beg the question there. Perry says Lisa was wrong for telling James that info, but she didn't know that he didn't know. Yeah, it was like a very innocent kind of, well, actually, I'm not going to say it's innocent because she just stood there the whole time and it really helped to move the plot line along. So I don't know if it was that innocent or if producers asked her to like talk about it with James or something like that. James was just rude to Raquel when they were talking and Lala and Peter, and he's so Raquel goes to the park to have a conversation with James because after Lisa spills the beans about Graham having the injury and whatnot, James is like crying. He wants to see the dog. Raquel takes a day to think about it. And so she decides to allow James to see the dog one time only. And then she kind of confronts him about something that Lala told her earlier on in the episode, which is that she did sleep with James when James was freshly in a relationship with Raquel, and she was freshly in a relationship with Randall. And so Raquel confronts James about this, and James, he basically admits it, and he's not very remorseful for it. But again, this happened like over 5 years ago. He's moved on to the love of his life. I was trying to imitate Raquel's voice there in case you guys didn't catch that. And whatnot, like he's over it. Raquel says, okay, well, it's a good thing I didn't marry you. And then James decides to go even deeper. What did he say to her in like rebuttal to that? Like, yeah, it's a great thing. I found the real love of my life. Never been so in love. Meanwhile, you're over there with Peter. Like he just kept going on and on. And after he like accepted responsibility for like his little situation with Lala, he claimed that they were both super drunk. And remember, these two both suffer from alcohol issues, right? That's why he gets sober sometimes, and Lala is currently sober. And so he claims, and this is something that was quite yikes for Lala, that she got naked or something like that and refused to let him leave the room without banging her. And I was like, if that was the reverse, we would have talked about that a bit more than just that moment, because that sounds like coercion. That sounds like false imprisonment. That sounds really creepy and really dirty, right? It doesn't sound right at all. Katie and Tom have too many of the same friends. That's the problem. This is why I never like to be like super friendly with like the friends of people I'm dating. Like, I got my own friends. You've got your own friends. We can like hang out with our friends, like, me with yours, yours with mine from time to time. But this is not going to be a bestie situation. Are afraid to be out of the loop. In my opinion, they should have never even married. I've been watching for a while. That's the thing. They never, ever, ever in a million years should have been married. I always felt like Katie could have done better than Tom. I know a lot of people love Tom and they fall for the lovable goofball thing with him, but like he's just not it, in my opinion. I don't know why she decided to settle like that, especially someone who does not meet you on your level and still has the audacity to cheat on you repeatedly. My God. Drick says, I hate that picture of Katie. They did her wrong. They need to give her a redo. Which one? They're all so cute. This one? You know what the problem is? They photoshopped her too much. They photoshopped all these people too much. These are not their real faces. The only ones that look kind of true are Sheena and Tom, but Raquel and Katie don't look like that at all, at all. And then in this one, I do think she looks like nice, just angry because she was scolding Tom at that very moment. She basically did, yes, that's what I feel like. It's like, even if you're not BFF or anything like that, when you hang around two people as a couple, you see them as a couple and whatnot, and then you go after their person, their ex, it's just grimy. It's just weird. It's just gross. Like, I could never do it. I don't know how people do it. There's so many people in this world. So why do that? I just don't get it. Raquel, that's what I think it is too, Tish. Like, she just seems lost, heartbroken, and she just wants to almost take it out on other people. Like, honestly, I'm going to say it again. Like, the distress in Katie's face throughout this episode, as Raquel kept saying, oh, it didn't happen. Like, we haven't done it. It kept feeling like she was saying, not yet. Because obviously in Katie's head, just like in my head, she's thinking, you're not guaranteeing me that this will never happen. All you're saying is that it currently has not happened. And then Raquel, in conversation, how wild was that, by the way, when Lala, Raquel, and Katie all went out for drinks together, and Raquel was talking about how, like, she likes Schwartz, and if she were to do something with him, it wouldn't be like a serious relationship or anything like that, maybe not even sex, but like at least a kiss. I was like, oh my God, why would you say that to her? That's horrible. Like, she obviously does not want that. Robin says, Katie was never nice to Raquel, so why is everyone expecting her to have more loyalty to Katie than Tom? Ain't this why they divorced? Was she really mean to Raquel, or was she kind of neutral? Because I remember Stassi being mean to Raquel. I remember Lala being mean to Raquel, but I don't remember Katie being particularly mean to Raquel. I do, however, remember Katie being particularly mean to Lala. She all but called her a prostitute, right? But I don't remember that. But either way, last season, they were on a good note. Katie and Tom, as a couple, were there for Raquel's engagement, her engagement party, and whatnot. And it's just weird. Again, there's so many people out here in the world. Why do you have to go after someone who's already been with someone in your social circle? I don't get it. I truly don't. Raquel is trying to live that single life and figure herself out, but she can't use her friends in the show to do it. That's the thing. Like, is she stirring up drama to stay a bit longer? I don't know. I think it's really complicated. I've never like been in that kind of situation with like a co-owning a pet or anything like that with somebody. So you guys, if any of you have ever had to like co-own a pet with someone, definitely please do feel free to let me know. But in my case, I feel like I would be more of the Raquel route, where it's like, no, I don't want to, because I don't want to keep seeing someone that I'm done with. You know what I mean? And it's like, you get your own dog, maybe get one that looks like this one and leave me alone, is kind of the vibe that I would go for, just because it just feels like you keep reopening the same wound if you keep having to see the same person again. And then maybe in the future, when like you're both past it, then or maybe like for the present, for the early days, you do 1 month at this person's place, 1 month at the other. So you're minimizing how much you see the other person. But I would not want to exchange an animal weekly with my ex. No, it just seems too heartbreaking. Hi, Natalie. Happy day off. I'm so happy to see you here too. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tish says Katie was Tom's mom. Yeah, like that was too much. But that's the problem. Tom is not a grown man, right? Like he had to be with a mom. Who else was going to raise him? He can't raise himself. Cherie says Sheena was doing the most, and Raquel is just simple. That's the best way to describe Raquel. I completely agree. And yes, Sheena was doing a lot. Listen, like I said a bit earlier, it seems as though she has been demoted in some category. I think it's because no one likes Brock. And so she has to involve herself in other storylines in order to get camera time because no one wants to see that man of hers outside of the wedding. Tom's a manipulator. Yes, I completely agree. He's been making her look bad for a really, really long time. Meanwhile, he's the one doing these horrible things. Katie has never cheated on Tom. I can't even count how many times Tom has cheated on Katie. Katie has never listen, she has said a lot of nasty things to him. But just the amount of nasty things that Tom has allowed other people to not only say about Katie, but that he's stood up for them as they, you know what I mean, say these things about Katie is wild to me. Steph says, the men in these situations need to be held accountable. Katie and Raquel were never friends. I don't agree with what she did, but everyone's putting the blame on her when Raquel owes Katie nothing. I can't get with it. I agree with you, by the way, but I can't get with the whole, we weren't like best friends, so I don't owe you anything. It's just odd to me, the whole trying to mix the dating pool with people, especially if you don't see someone seriously. Like if you're just looking for a hookup, especially as a woman, we can get that anywhere, anytime. Why does it have to be with someone that causes distress to someone who is part of your friend group? You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that and ruin the vibes when it comes to hanging out with my group of friends? Like, I don't get it. You know, I don't think it's worth it, especially for Tom. Really, Tom Schwartz. Look at this guy. And like you said, Steph, everyone's taking the fall while he's over there getting away with it when it's him. He could have shut all of this down. He was the one that was married to Katie. You know what I mean? Like, that's going to happen to you too. And has Tom ever come out to defend Raquel since all of this has happened? No. But here's one thing that I predict also is a reason why Raquel is getting more heat than Tom. If you guys follow Raquel on Instagram, take a look at her most recent post. You probably already saw it a couple of days ago, but she's taunting Katie through her Instagram. Like, she posted a photo of herself with Tom with like a caption saying like something like, oh, just because, with a silly face. And when I tell you, the comment section chewed her up and spit her out. Like, girl, what are you doing? Are you kidding me? Like, what part? This is not cute. Okay. This is just downright mean. And just you wait until this happens to you. That's the one thing. Karma is a bitch. And one day this stuff is going to happen to Raquel. It's going to happen to Tom. And it's going to happen to Sheena. And we'll see how they handle it when it's their turn to suffer because someone feels like playing games with their emotions, right? Oh yeah, ain't that the truth, Abu? Katie, that's the thing. I never was a huge Katie fan or a Katie fan, period. I find her to be a miserable person in general. For that reason, she was mean to everybody. All right, you guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a little detour here and take a look. Look at these. This is the photo she posted. It's a series of photos of her and Tom Schwartz. Really, this is your prize? Look at the screen. This is your man? You know, and she goes, just like I told you, silly face and whatnot. And then people are saying, this is not it. Should have turned the comments off. Secondhand embarrassment. Very poor taste. That's embarrassing. Here's someone sticking out for her. This is so wrong. This isn't cool. This is not a flex. Like, this would be different if it was Katie's boyfriend, but that's her husband. Like, are you this desperate to be on a show? You know, like, people were not feeling it. Then Kate even drops by. She's like, you thought you did something here, but these comments ate. You know, she's using this like sentence wrong, but I digress. But like, if you keep reading the comments, there's hundreds or thousands. She was getting eaten up, as she should, for that stunt that she pulled. It's not nice to play with people's emotions like that. It's not funny. And people are not going to like, kiki with you on it. Like, like, come on now. Like, I don't know. it's just, I don't know. So let me catch up with some of your comments here before I move on. Katie enabled everyone else being mean and nasty. This is making her complicit. Absolutely. And she was mean and nasty her damn self. That woman was a woof. I'm sorry, but the Witches of WeHo wine was very accurate. She, Kristen, Stassi, they were all witches. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. It'll help me continue to pop up in your algorithm. Jasmine says, why doesn't Katie have that same energy for Tom, though? He's a grown man who's able to shut Sheena. Well, that's the thing. She tries to talk to him, right? Like this was the scene where she tries to talk to him at that event. And he just, did you see the way he was cowering away? I didn't appreciate it. When she would try to talk to him and like really tell him, like, stop, this is like that, he'd be like this, as if she's going to hit him. Come on, Tom. The way you're crying, you know, the way you're acting and like playing dumb and like acting victim and this and that, like, just to make her look crazy and evil and this and that. Like, I don't like it. Like, I don't know what she ever saw in that man. Exactly. There's so many people. It's common courtesy. Like, especially if you're not even like interested in them for love, you just want to hook up with someone else. There's Tinder, there's Bumble, there's Hinge. There's so many options out there. Like, there's a limitless supply of hookup men or whatever. You know what I mean? But if you chose to for whatever reason. So now what happens a little bit later on here, you guys? Oh, Ariana and Katie, they go ahead and go visit their little sandwich shop. Mind you, I forgot the girls were even doing a sandwich shop. Did that ever get off the ground? They were looking at a really, really big space, which I felt like was a little bit ambitious considering we still don't know what types of sandwiches the girls are selling. We literally know nothing about it. They don't seem very passionate about it. It seems like something that's like a fair weather activity for them. They have not raised the financing to actually go ahead and move forward with this plan either. Like, I don't know. Quick question, you guys. Did they launch that sandwich shop? And if not, like, is there news on when that will be launched? And did you find that the space was a little bit big as well? I kind of felt like they could have started off in something small. So for example, I went to a little like cupcake coffee shop recently. It's by my gym. Oh, the horror. Like, I was like, what is that? And it's really tiny, but it's like cozy and cute. And it's like a small local business. It's like, you know, just start off with a little thing like that when you're selling such small items. So at that place, they're selling little cupcakes, bagels, you know, stuff like that, smoothies and whatnot, coffee, tea. So they don't need a huge space. Paris says, as Katie said, I'm going to watch the world burn and laugh or something like that. I did too, because it happens. What goes around truly does come around. So it might be all fun and games for Sheena, for Tom, and for Raquel right now. But trust and believe that is going to come back for all of them. Sheena, already no one really believes in this shady man that you decided to marry. So you'll see what happens. Tom, you're just getting started again in the dating world, and the dating world is ruthless. It's been 12 years since you were dating. You'll see the dating world is very ruthless, and you will suffer a lot of heartbreak. And same with you, Raquel, getting back out there in the dating world. You will suffer a lot of heartbreak again, like anybody else. And don't cry about it when you treat people like this, who are going through it already, and you're supposed to be like, you know, friendly with. Oh my God, thank you for saying that. Katie was always so mean, but I thought it stemmed from insecurity. You know, some people claim that it's because of her brain injury, but I don't think that having a brain injury or whatever like automatically turns you into like an asshole personally, but I digress. Tasha says, Katie has said and done the worst. Yeah, she like, if she dislikes someone, she gets really mean and like in there. And, you know, that's why I was really surprised to see her go out with like be so close to Lala. Lala's constantly referring to her as her best friend. I'm like, really? Like, you used to hate that girl. You were all but calling that girl a prostitute, right? I mean, it was true, but still call it like I see it. Remember that? Yeah, Stassi is, wow, demonic mean girl too. There's so many really, really mean girls on these shows. And I don't know why that is. Like, why do they have to be so mean? Like, I think shady and funny and stuff like that is cute and fun, but like sometimes they're like full blown mean and evil. And it's really hard. Yeah, the reunion's going to be a bloodbath, Tish. Thanks for bringing that up, because I didn't even think about the reunion, but I do agree it is going to be intense. I agree. She can't control them or anything like that, but she can ask for a boundary to be respected when it comes to her ex-husband and her friends. And the thing is, the ex-husband, Tom, had already agreed to it. This was an agreement made on both sides. Bang whoever you want, which I think is more in line with what Katie was probably saying to Sheena, that maybe she wants Sheena to help Tom move forward with people in general, but she didn't say Raquel. Why would she say Raquel of all people? You know what I mean? And so Sheena decided to take it upon herself to make it happen between him and her girl. But here's the thing, you guys. I am starting to low-key think that this is just part of a storyline. Like, I don't know. Like, do you think this is a producer-driven plot and they're all kind of in on it? But I don't know. The thing is, I do feel as though Katie is like genuinely hurt by what is going on here, right? So I have a soft spot for her in this, you know, just in how brutal people can be. People around you that you think are your friends can be in breakups and stuff. You're like, really? The whole time you were plotting on this man of mine? Really? That's scary. Hey, Steph. Oh, Steph, wait. I remembered. Hang on. Thank you so much for the super chat. I've got a sound effect for this again. But what have I done with my sound effect? Come on now. You know, StreamYard is a little bit complicated because they make you create like a template for every different thing. Here it is. There you go. Thank you so much. Stephanie says, loving the recap, Grace. Thank you so much. You are always so supportive. And I do see you as well in our live streams that we do with Kempire and Layla for our HOP. So thank you so much for always, being really supportive of all of our channels. Paris says, I'm watching the show and wondering how many restaurants. That's the thing, right? There was Sir, there was Villa Blanca, there was Tom. There was another, what was and now Schwartz and Sandy's. And then we're supposed to have the Sandwich Girls. Like, it is so much. It's the Disneyland of restaurants, which I think is really actually smart of Lisa and the people for the show to really like capitalize on that as a thing. Because, you know, like these housewives, what do? These days they're doing cabaret, which again, I actually do think is very creative and smart. But before they would be trying to create clothing lines, they would try to release music, coming out with a restaurant where these people can go out. Have any of you guys ever gone to these restaurants and met these people? A lot of people do that. Like as their birthday trip, they'll be like, I want to go to the hills and like meet all these people and stuff. And they do work there, right? Like some of them at the time, and then, or they hang out there. And so you do see them in real life, which is a really, really, really cool experience for fans. Mr. Rogers says, I prefer Katie and Lala, who never pretended to be nice, than Raquel or Sheena. Yes, who put on the nice girl act, but are snipers from the side. Oh, can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Yeah. What has Katie ever done to this girl to deserve this spoon? Exactly. A straight up savage person is better than these fake nice individuals. I am 1000% with you on that. By the way, they make you feel like you're crazy too. Like Katie's like, oh no. She's like, oh, it hasn't happened yet. You know, like, what is that? By the way, you guys, Tom, when Sheena comes over to his apartment to like do their little podcast situation, we see that he actually is living with a lady. He claims, he says she's just a friend. Now, Tom, let's not pretend. What do you think? Is that really just a friend? Or is he dating her? Because she's still living there. I think it's a one-bedroom apartment. Is it not a one-bedroom apartment? So, and the word on the street is that they are, in fact, dating. So, I don't know, y'all. I do not know. I get the vibe that that girl was, if maybe she wasn't at the time, but I've heard that she is his girlfriend now. So as Sheena is in his like apartment talking to him for the podcast interview, she asks him to play F, Marry, Kill. He decides that he will F Lisa Vanderpump, who I thought he would marry. Like, really, you're going to pass up a sugar mama that you have a huge crush on? Okay. And then he decides that he will marry Raquel. I'm sorry, but between the two of them, I'd be scared. They both seem like the type to stick a fork in like an electrical outlet. Like, they don't seem very sharp to me. So the idea of those two together is a little bit worrying. And then he said that he would off Lala, which is not a surprise. Well, thanks, Jazz. I didn't know they actually fully committed to it. It's not a surprise because remember, Lala has decided that he is persona non grata in her world because he decided to go ahead and play pickleball with Rand in the midst of her tumultuous divorce and custody battle from him. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, we need to see them doing some more of their own kind of business endeavors, which I do think would be quite interesting, and it'll help them in the long run for marketing it. And I hope that the restaurant, I don't know if it's close to their other restaurants or anything like that, but I would love it if their restaurant was even like close to Tom, to Schwartz and Sandy's, and to everything else, because apparently you can walk between Villa Blanca, Sir, and Tom, which is amazing, right? Like that was super well thought out. Paris says, do you think it's hypocritical that Katie and Ariana are opening up a sandwich shop when one of the reasons Tom and Katie broke up was because of this restaurant? I wouldn't say so, because I think that Katie would have prioritized a relationship more while also building this on the side than Tom has. Tom has never prioritized a relationship, period. So he just went all in on the restaurant. And I do think that like that was the final straw. It was just a series of him prioritizing everything above Katie, whereas Katie was always putting him as number one. So I do think that she still would have prioritized a relationship as she opened up the restaurant, unlike Tom. And I agree, Casey, Sheena is an absolute snake. And I love, by the way, when James Kennedy called her out. Didn't he call her like, what was the pie that he called her? Like a pumpkin pie or something like that, where it's like, it seems sweet, but that doesn't last for very long. You put cream on top of it to like hide it. He's like, why are you over here smirking and kikiing while this stuff is like actually painful for people? You know, you're trying to get these people to make up like it's not going to hurt others. I was like, yes, James Kennedy, good for you. Elle says, the fact that I'm watching this full live when I've never seen the show or heard any of these people's name, LMFAO, I just like Grace Report. You are a real one, Elle. Thank you. I love comments like this. They're always so fun. Love it. Thank you. Paris says, Katie did lose the argument when she called Sheena a troll. I feel like Sheena is trolling her, though, in a way. It's like a troll, like it's troll behavior, in my opinion. Like, why else would you want these two to make out other than to troll Katie, right? Like maybe she secretly harbors resentment over like her past issues with Katie, that she's pushing this. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm team Katie on that, man. We've seen this before with Stassi and Jax. Oh, Kristen. Oh my God. Now there's a memory. That was a really crazy episode when that was revealed. And then Stassi backhands Kristen. And then Tom Sandoval punches Jax. And it all happened at Sheena's engagement party. And she acted like the ultimate victim. Sheena, her love for attention knows no bounds, right? Not the sound effects, just like Kevin. See, listen, I come prepared. Here's the thing though. I do have to like better organize my StreamYard. It's just I cover like a bunch of like different things. So like they're all like import again, right? But yeah, I got a couple here. What do I have? You guys heard the applause. You guys heard the ka-ching. I've got this. And then I've got this. Crickets. Yeah. So just a couple. I am not as robust in my sound effects as KP, but they are a little bit fun from time to time. That's for sure. Tasha says, Katie didn't see. Oh, by the way, don't forget, I just put out the link for the live stream for our Monday recap. That's going to be happening on my channel this week. Don't forget to tune in Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hit the bell to be notified when we go live. Tasha says, Katie didn't see the writing on the wall of the future of her relationship. She tried to turn Tom from a boy into a husband like Bo. Katie's just living in fantasy land. I agree. I honestly feel bad for her because I feel like we've all kind of been there, like where you just like want it so bad with a person that you ignore a lot of stuff. And then like in hindsight, you're like, oh Lord, what was I thinking? Katie is a snake. Amen. Okay, so that's it. He did call Sheena pumpkin pie, which I do agree with. Sheena is very, very fake. And it's like someone else up there said, like, I prefer people who are straight up, like, in your face than people like that who play nice with you. Raquel tells Katie and she would make out with Tom. Yes, that was while she was out for drinks with Katie and Lala as well. So Katie describes what went down with that whole podcast situation, the FMK game, and how she's heard that Sheena has been pushing for Tom to make out with Raquel. And so I think she asked Lala, I think she asked Raquel, like, what she thought about it. And Raquel's like, and I've got this in my note. she says like she wouldn't like do anything serious with him or anything like that. But like she did say that she probably would make out with him. And obviously, Katie was unimpressed, but that was not going to deter our girl. She wants to make out with people. This is her hot girl summer, I guess. Casey says, once again, Tom Schwartz sided with someone else, Sheena, against Katie, just like he did when he was married. So glad Katie dumped him. Ooh, that is a very like apt observation, right? Like he's siding with everyone but Katie as usual. And it's true. Katie made the best decision for her life, of her life, leaving this man. You know, that restaurant was just the straw on the camel's back. I think it's just a polite way, in my opinion, to talk about like why she decided to leave him, because it just comes down to the fact that this man never, ever, 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 ever in a million years was willing to put her first, to choose her, to protect her, to stand by her. You know, is he protecting her or her feelings by doing this? No, not at all. Sonia says, I don't agree with what Raquel is doing. However, I don't feel bad for Katie. She has a mean girl streak and is getting her karma. She definitely has been mean, but I have never seen her do anything like this to anybody. But it's true that karma does come back in different forms. So maybe this is karma for other ways that she's treated people. But I don't know. It's sad. I just hate to see things like this happen between, you know, friends and whatnot. It's just so unfortunate. By the way, how cute was that scene when the two Toms go to Schwartz and Sandy's, and then they're having like a meeting about like how they want to open after their daily meal party. A lot of people think that it is open when it's actually not. And so this couple, I guess, they come in, they're like, are you guys open? And then they actually get to meet them. They shake their hands and everything. They offer them a tour. I was like, oh my God, what a dream to just like by happenstance walk in, it's filming, they're there, and you get to like take a tour. You're one of the first people. That was incredible. I was very jealous of them, that is for sure. Jasmine says, I always thought Sandoval's band was just a hobby. Okay, well, let's get into that, Jazz. Where does Tom Sandoval get all this money to throw into a bunch of things that are like money pits? So for example, how much did he spend on James's engagement? He spent like what, $30,000 or something like that. Do you guys remember the actual figure? Like he spent tens of thousands of dollars. He spent thousands of dollars for like different weddings as well, right? For Schwartzy's wedding, I believe he spent money for Jax's wedding as well. Like he really likes to trick off on people. Like he is one generous person, but it does make me nervous that he could lose his money that way if he isn't careful. I do wonder, because I feel like typically like these people as well, like their families take advantage of their financial status. So they start like, you know, they turn into beggars, unfortunately. I can't stand that. That's one thing I don't like that has been normalized, is like, and some people even kind of like hype it up. Like it's an honor to have to like fund your parents and like put up with them leeching off of you when you make money. I don't like it. And I don't think it's right personally and whatnot. But I do imagine that Tom Sandoval, because I do remember Kristen talking about it to James a couple of seasons back, how they all pretty much help out family members with money. So between the amount of money that he spends on his friends, now with the band and with the restaurant that they had to take out another mortgage on or refinance in order to like to do it or whatever, like I do worry about how financially, like whatever he is, like he's talking about buying his bandmates food, paying for the practice, paying for the renting of the space. Like it's a lot going on there, in my humble opinion. Obviously, he has to pay the band members, but the food, I don't know. Like typically when you go to work, you go ahead and buy your own food, don't you? Unless listen, the French people have it made, y'all, because the way that they have it made is insane. So a lot of them have what is called ticket resto, which is like a pamphlet of like coupons of money to buy food. So like restaurants accept them, even Uber Eats accepts them. So you go to a restaurant and you eat for lunch, obviously, and then you hand them one of this and it's like, it's paid for. So some of them are worth 10, some of them are 15 euros, some of them are, you know, whatever euros. Like a lot of like jobs have to give you this, or like you buy into it, at a steep discount so that they pay for your lunch or whatever. And then they have some for like travel. My friend Stella, when we went to Lyon together, she paid her portion of the hotel using these like travel tickets she got from work. I was like, oh, I think she said she had like $300 worth. I was like, Jesus Christ, the rights they have over here. I thought we had it good in Canada because I was comparing us to the Americans. Sorry, y'all, but the way they have it here is insane. Hi, Cece. Nice to see you again. We're talking about Vanderpump Rules. Vanderpump Rules recap. Tasha says what Sheena did was passive aggressive and horrible things. Girls like Charlie and Dana, Kathan would ambush with a sidekick her. Sheena is just money and fame hungry. That's exactly it. Sheena, like, remember, she's the same one who slept with like that guy, Eddie Cibrian, while he was married to Brandy and whatnot, and played dumb about it and actually acted like she was the actual victim in all of that. How funny when Sheena called Schwartz one of her best friends during her podcast. Even Schwartz was, surprised by that. Everyone is Sheena's best friend. She is so fake. Exactly. Someone who's best friends with everyone is best friends with no one at the end of the day. And look at how well she proves that. I feel like in another context, she would probably call Katie one of her best friends. And she has, right, in the earlier seasons. And look how she's treating Katie. So now, I forgot to mention this little part of the girls' night out between Lala, Raquel, and Katie, but there were flashbacks because Lala's talking about how she used to have a volatile relationship with Raquel. And so in the flashback, she's telling Raquel, you can't be this dumb, right? Because she wanted Raquel, she already admitted to Raquel that she had hooked up with James at the beginning of their relationship. And why is she even saying that? Like, she's so obsessed with James this season. 3 episodes in, and each episode she's talked about hooking up with James. It's giving in love. And so after she says that, she's like, I know that things haven't always been great. I hope you're not taking this as shade or anything like that. And so you see the playback of how mean she was to Raquel in the past. And there was another woman that James had cheated on Raquel with. Lala was trying to tell her, and Raquel was not buying it. And so Lala, of all people, who is now playing stupid about her own separation and breakup and stuff like that, she's like, how dumb can you be? Like, I hope you're playing. Like, how dumb can you truly be? Meanwhile, now she's like, oh my God, this guy, he had me so fooled. I had no idea he was doing like cheating or this, that, or the other. It was very, very ironic. But I digress. So Lala has Katie's back, by the way, when Raquel, because I believe it was Stephanie who mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Raquel did say that she would make out with Schwartz. And here's the comment, actually. And Lala's like, oh my God, no. I'm telling you that as Katie's friend, I would be really pissed about that. Like, I can't believe you would do that. I would never do anything like that. And then Raquel's like, really? Because 2 seconds ago, you just said that you hooked up with my boyfriend when I started dating him and when you were in a relationship at the same time. So I do think that that was quite funny. So we did kind of get into the band situation, but I kind of want to circle back to that because there was something that was it made me kind of sad because here's the thing. Everybody knows I'm in love with Tom Sandoval, okay? I'm obsessed with him. And he's just such a nice, generous, loving, supportive person. And he is so excited, almost honored to have White Kanye, James Kennedy, opening for his band. He's just he gives him like this huge introduction in front of the band and everything. And then he just mentions it like 3 times, 4 times. And he's so excited that James is going to be opening for them. Meanwhile, in his confession, what does James say? He's like, oh, like it's a money pit. It's an expensive hobby for him. He's paying for all this stuff, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, I wonder like if that was kind of like deflating to Tom to hear, because it is like a passion of his. And it's probably not nice for him to hear it being described this way. Speaking of James, he is trying so hard to sell us on this 6-month relationship, talking about, meeting this girl, what's her name again? Allie, was the best day of my life. I'm sorry, your engagement wasn't the best day of your life. Please, please, please. I am not sold. I don't think that he is in love with her. I think that he is just happy to have someone next to him who is willing to play the part in his play and his performance entitled, I Am Over Raquel. And then you've got the left bracket. Not really, but I'm trying. And then you close it off with the right bracket. And Allie's doing a good job of playing into that, right? Like, but I don't buy it. I don't. I just can't. By the way, I have to ask you guys, this is like very subjective, right? On average, when you're dating someone or when you're with someone, how long does it take for you to profess your love? Are you somewhere between 1 to 3 months, 4 to 7 months, or 8 to 12 months? I'm curious about this because I will tell you, this has been something I've been discussing with some of my friends, because I noticed I have a lot of friends who move like what I would consider to be quite quickly. Like some of them are declaring this in like 2 months, which no judgment. It's just I consider to be a bit quick, but I think that the average is maybe 3 to 4 months, if I'm not mistaken. But that's kind of surprising to me because I would think it would be mainly like 4 to 6 months. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we've got some Sandoval stands in here. What does Sandoval call his fans, by the way? I want to like have a name. The Sandoval Hive, the Sandy Hive. Paris says, at first, when I saw Ali on screen, she looked so young. I think she still does. Yeah, she's definitely very girlish. She doesn't give women vibes. She gives girl vibes. But she does look really beautiful and really polished here. That is for sure. Also, I'm really excited to hear her kind of like come out and let us know how she felt about those nasty comments that Lala made behind her back the other episode when she was like, oh, she's a thin-lipped bitch. James loves himself a thin-lipped bitch. I'm sorry, but she's got like proportional lips. Like, I don't know, like everybody doesn't want to have these deflated, like fake lips you have, Lala. Everybody doesn't want to age themselves 100 years with fillers and whatnot, right? Like, and that's fine. I don't know why she felt the need to say that. It felt really mean. And I don't know. I didn't like it. Stephanie says, Ali is sitting there watching him handle unfinished business with his ex and address cheating rumors. I'm embarrassed for her. But she did try to stick up for herself at the end. She like even walked away from him and stuff. She was like, wow, you need to wrap that up, handle that, James. So that was quite funny. But it is true. Like, and speaking of that, Stephanie, I didn't love when Raquel tried to approach him again at that party to bring it up again, the like Graham stuff. And he's like, or sorry, the cheating stuff. He's like, listen, Raquel, this happened so long ago. I don't know what you want me to tell you at this point. Like, what do you want? I'm not ruining this party because it was Tom's party at that point. I'm not ruining this party with these discussions. Like, move on, you know, basically, which I felt like he handled it in a really, really good way. But again, I'm still not convinced about his relationship. So let me get back to your stuff. Casey says, my husband and I told each other we loved each other after 2 months. The love, the love, the love. So, okay, you guys seem to be in the early boat as well. I'm seeing 1 to 3 months, 2 months. I say 3 months. Wow. Stephanie says, yeah, she's definitely not a punk, but I hate this for her. I agree. I'd be embarrassed too. I'd be really pissed that this keeps on happening. And I wonder if maybe that's the reason why Raquel is doing it. She wants to kind of like drive her away a little bit, maybe. You know what I mean? Tasha says 1 year to 6 to 8 months. Yeah, I'm trying to see where I fall. I think sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's more 4. I think, yeah, I'm typically 3 to, let me say to 5, even though if it takes too long, then I don't think at all. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think I'm 3 to 5 max, though I have not gotten to 5. Paris says, did you talk about the double date at the restaurant, the double date at Tom's house? Well, let's get into it. The double date situation, which was allegedly being driven by Sheena, because remember, someone has to take the fall for Tom Schwartz, right? And that person is Sheena. So they're supposed to go watch Tom Sandoval's band play, and so she decides that she wants to pregame at Tom Schwartz's house and to bring Raquel with her. And she's bringing Brock as well. So it is a double date situation. And that was really hurtful for Katie to find out about. But Tom understands the optics, right? You as a person, like Tom is 40, is he not? Here's the thing. I will tell you something. And I was talking to my friend about this the other day because I don't know what it is, but all these guys that like I had matched with on the dating apps, like over the summer, like some have gone out with like once or twice. They're coming out of the woodworks to like start talking to me again, to like add me on Instagram and stuff. And I just don't respond because I'm in a relationship, right? And I'm like, I'm 12, 13 years younger than Tom. I'm 29. He's like 40 something, right? And I feel like I'm not married to this guy that I'm dating. It's only been a couple months, but like I have this line in the sand for things like that because of this person. And the fact that Tom, as someone who spent 12 years with Katie, who at this point still is technically married to Katie, cannot draw a line in the sand out of respect for his soon-to-be ex-wife is crazy to me. And it's wholly unacceptable, right? He grosses me out so much. I've never liked this guy ever. I don't see the hype. Like, Raquel, why would you want someone like this? Look at the way he's treating Katie and ask yourself if that's what you want. Because you're over here sad. Isn't that ironic, by the way, that she is sad that James has replaced her in like a hot minute with Allie? Meanwhile, you're the Allie to Katie in her relationship with Tom, and you were too damn, I don't know, Bambi-eyed B to see it, right? So don't, you know how you cry victim about it in one instance, and then in the other instance, you play into it. And it's worse because you actually know the girl. Allie literally did not know you when she got with James, but you have known Katie for years. You've had her in your home. She's had you in her home. You've had her in your wedding stuff and whatnot. Like, it's a bit gross. So yes, the double date. Okay, so the restaurant double date. Oh my God. So Lala and Katie, they decide to go on this double date at this restaurant with those guys that they had met at that hotel party where James was DJing. And those guys were so lame, especially the Thai guy. Like, I felt like they were talking to teenagers, the maturity level, but I didn't like it when Lala said that same thing because Lala is so vulgar and gross, talking about, I haven't given a blowjob in 9 months. Girl, why do you speak like a sex worker everywhere you go? You know, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just, she speaks so, like, I feel like she is so used to transactional relationships because before she got with Rand, what was she doing? She was already doing some strange for some change with other men. Remember when she first joined the show, they would call her out for going on trips with rich men who were like old and whatnot. So like she is so used to the transactional stuff that she speaks that way, like so vulgarly, without like leaving room for a genuine connection to form. So how do you speak like this to people? And you know what I mean? And then turn around and say that, oh, that person is too immature for me. Like the way she speaks is not, I'm sorry, but it's not ladylike. It's just very like, it's very, again, vulgar, I think is the only like word I can think for it. Like I just don't like it the way that she speaks. And it's not attractive in my opinion. I wouldn't like a guy who said, I haven't like eaten a cat in like 9 months. Well, yeah, you're gonna have to wait another 9 months, buddy, because I am out of here. Like what? It depends. Post-pandemic has bad things. That's true, Tasha. I feel like a lot of us feel like we lost like 2-3 years in that pandemic for sure. I definitely agree with you on that. I think so too, but at this point, he's got his girlfriend. He's not thinking about you, Raquel, right? And it sucks, but sometimes you have to find closure yourself. You can't look to someone else. Someone selfish enough to do something like that to you is not going to be selfless enough to apologize to you. And I think that's something that she needs to kind of like accept, you know? Al says, never, LOL. No, seriously, whenever I really feel like it. I'm not one of those people that say I love you and I don't mean it. Yeah, like, you know, like sometimes it's like, I just want to be sure. Because sometimes you're like, oh, I think, no. One false move and you're out. Alisa waited 9 months. See, 9 months as well. Like, I love the variety in here. We're getting things from 1 month to like 9 months. I think we even got like a year in there as well. So we're like, it's not really something you can time. And I don't think that like if you fall in love quicker, it's any more or less likely, or if you fall in love slower, it's any more or less likely, right? Because sometimes people say if it's really quick, then it's, what do they say? Burn fast or something like that. But I don't think so. I think sometimes you just know immediately. And then sometimes people say, well, if it takes too long, then it's just you're trying to convince yourself. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think everything is just different. Every dynamic is different. Gorgeous says, I think sometimes people are in lust, not always love. I think that would be James. Exactly. I definitely see that as the case for him. He is someone who's so scared to be alone. Does anyone believe Lala would have been in love with her ex if he didn't have money? Absolutely not. Lala would not be in love with anyone who does not have money. Lala is someone who exchanges actual favors for comfort. She says this very loud and proudly, for sure. Double date at restaurant. Yeah, that was so awful. So let me pull up some of my notes on that, because I did have a couple other notes on how kind of like cringe the entire situation was. You know, they were talking about these like Finding Nemo, Lion King. I'm like, how old are these people? Are these people in their 30s and stuff like that? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't really get like the whole like just you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's because I didn't grow up with Disney movies, to be honest with you guys. I did watch Finding Nemo, but I've never seen Finding Dory. I've never seen The Lion King. I've never seen Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, whatever these things are. I've never seen them. So maybe that's why I don't get it. But I don't talk about cartoons on dates with men just because I'm a little bit past that in my kind of like Rolodex of things that interests me in terms of getting to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not my vibe, but everyone's different. Maybe, I don't know. So, Ty. So, oh, I should have gotten a picture of it, but it turns out Ty is a TikTok thought. Like, he plays around with like gym equipment, like he humps them for TikTok views. And I was like, oh my God, like, really, really, ugh, God, like instant ick. And Lala saw those videos and still decided she wanted to go out with him. I would have like just never gone out with someone like that. Like, that's just too much for me. I find that very like thirsty. What about you guys? If someone was pursuing you and then you follow them on TikTok or whatever, and you see that they are a TikTok thought, humping gym equipment for attention on TikTok, would that like entice you to go out with them? See, Paris, it's not too far off, eh? Casey says, even Sheena's best friend, Ariana, thought Sheena was wrong. Yes, and I love that. Ariana was not with it. And I love that. And Ariana called it out so well. It is official. And also, like, even if I were single or not, I would not entertain someone who comes back multiple months later talking about how you're doing. I'm sorry, you should have asked me this how many months ago when we first connected. You know what I mean? No, I don't like that. I don't leave the door open in general for guys. Sonia says it depends on the person. 4 to 6 months to say I love you. I think that's fair. I think all of you guys' things are fair because sometimes you feel it stronger and quicker than others, for sure. And then sometimes it just feels you need more time. And I don't know. Lala is rude and crude. That is the perfect descriptor for her. She is just too much for me. I can't. I'm not a fan of the way that she speaks. I think that she really cheapens herself in the way that she speaks. No, if it's a thirst trap, maybe like humping things like a dog is a bit much. Exactly. Like, you guys are just not feeling it. It is way too thirsty. Right. And that was another thing, Paris. Lala's like, oh, well, I have a kid and stuff, and he doesn't seem like this. It's like, yeah, well, you're the one with the kid, and you're sitting up here talking about I haven't sucked a D in 9 months. Like, it's even worse. That guy is humping things like as a single young, whatever. And here you are as a mom speaking like this. Like, I don't know. You're not too far above him. I don't know. I think that Lala overuses the kid thing these days. Do you guys see what I mean with that? Like, she's just very much like, oh, because I have a kid this, I have a kid that. Like, okay, billions of people have kids, Lala. You're not that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's something about that, the way she talks about her kid, or she brings up her kid in certain things that kind of like is off to me. No, it's not a cultural, well, maybe, I don't know. Listen, when I was young, I had immigrated to Canada, right? I was 4 years old. And so I was moving around a lot until we had like a permanent home type of thing. So like watching movies and stuff like that was not really something that, you know what I mean, that that we were doing like that. And then when we were finally like settled, I was a bit older. So maybe I had aged out of these movies at this point, or I don't know. I'm not sure. Elle says, I feel like it doesn't make sense to have a timeline. Yeah, exactly. It's just, you feel it. You feel it. That's all it is. One day you find out. I'm just asking how people usually find out, like on average, in general. Exactly. You're sober, that kid you're bragging about, and you're speaking like this. Like, stop. Like, come on. Those TikToks would have been a deal, right? Like, it was so gross. The kid is she, I think she might have just turned a year or close to a year. She's still like, a baby. What else happened, you guys? Have I missed anything? Do you think that guy wiped down the equipment after he was like banging it, or no, by the way? Also, why did Sheena feel the need at like the double date at Tom's house? Why did she feel the need to expose Katie's dating to Tom? Like, I don't understand why she's getting herself so involved in this stuff, right? Bianca. Like, why did she say that? She's like, oh, she's been hooking up with this guy. Well, it doesn't matter because Katie and Tom had an understanding that they could hook up with other people. It's just not within the friend group. So Lala, I mean Sheena, what are you doing spilling her tea like that? Like that's really unfair. And I didn't like the way that Tom reacted, like, oh my God, I'm so sad. She's been hooking up with other people. You've been hooking up with other people since you were married to her, bro. Like, stop with the act, the nice guy act. Like, no one's buying it. Like, what? It's just so weird. And so Tom does kind of try to, and I don't think that he was genuinely trying. I think he was just quote unquote trying for the record to try to set that boundary about like how Katie would be unhappy if he were to make out with Raquel or anything like that. And then Sheena and Raquel try to like convince him against that. And it's like, girls, why are you so thirsty for this man? Like, what does Tom bring to the table? You know, he's like, we got to stop flirting. They're like, no. Like, Katie's controlling you. There's double standards. What is the double standard? Who in the group is Katie trying to hook up with? Nobody. Therefore, there's no double standard. They both agreed to this. So what are they talking about? And Raquel, why are you so thirsty for this man? Sheena, don't you have like a thirsty ass husband at home or fiance at home to worry about? Like, why are you so involved in this? It was so odd. And then when they get to the actual event, Katie, I love the way that she confronted Sheena about this. And then Sheena, when faced with confrontation, she curls up and starts acting all innocent and shocked and surprised and not understanding why Katie is coming for her. She's like, I never like did anything. Like, what are you talking about? Like, huh? Girl, you were just crossing his boundary in the kitchen when he said he wanted to stop to, you know, in honor of his wife or soon to be ex-wife. And you're pushing him to make out with this girl. And you're riding so hard for it that you're spilling your supposed friend's tea to this man in order to convince him to start making out with Raquel. Like, why are you playing innocent here? And then she's acting, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I used to really like Sheena, but I can't stand her anymore. She's just, ugh. She's just the type of person where you want to like shake them. Like, what is wrong with that? Damn it. Yeah. And so Raquel was standing there while this was going down. Katie was not going in on Raquel because she didn't understand at that moment yet just how thirsty Raquel was for her man, right? So Raquel is watching this, seeing how upset Katie is, and she still later on decides to move forward with this. Also, Tom was there watching all of this. He sees how upset Katie is, and later on, he's going to go ahead and decide to do this anyway. Like, it really is sad. I feel for Katie in all of this. It's really, really not fair. And so she actually, in another surprising scene. So my first surprising scene was when Katie and Lala and Raquel all went out for drinks, right? Because I was like, Lala used to hate Raquel, who used to hate Lala. And Katie used to hate Lala, who used to hate Katie, and you're all together. And now we've got James Kennedy trying to check on Katie and see how she's doing. Meanwhile, they've hated each other for years, right? Like, he's been fat shaming her for years or body shaming her or whatever, and saying all sorts of horrible things about her. But at this moment, they get the opportunity to commiserate over Sheena putting everyone on her podcast immediately after their breakup. She's like, oh, you got a breakup? Come on my podcast. James had a beef with Brock, Sheena's fiance, because Brock wanted to use his venue in order to have like a free wedding. And so Brock's like, oh, well, why don't you come on the podcast? We'll hash it out, bro. Right? Like, oh my God. Oh my freaking God. Right? Like, geez. Oh, well, why doesn't Sheena come out and say she hates Katie? Because in those leaked text messages, she was acting like, oh, I'm your friend. I didn't mean to hurt you. Well, now you hate her. Which is it? Right? He's right. She's a troll. Absolutely. She plays both sides. She's under the bridge, waiting for people to break up so she could put them on her podcast, you know, like a little troll. I don't see what anyone would find attractive about Schwartz. Me neither. No accountability, no drive. Like, he won't prioritize your relationship or anything like that. Like, what's there to love? And who will throw you under the bus at any given opportunity on top of all of that? Same here, Ivorian girl. Like, I'm just not, I don't know. She is a guy, yeah, and I can't stand girls talking about, I'm a guy's girl. I'm sorry, but female friendships, to me, are top tier. So any girl who does not value female friendships or women friendships or whatever is a red flag to me. It's a sisterhood that you will never have with men. And one thing I know that men and women can be friends, but in my personal experience, no. I've never had a man want to be friends with me because he wants to be friends with me and get to know me. It's because he wants to down the line see if he can like try something. Paris, and it's actually really disappointing because I remember I told you guys this story. It was the last time that I tried to have a friendship with a guy. First of all, I thought this guy was gay because I have a lot of gay friends here, right? All my guy friends are gay. And so anyway, I had invited him to have like lunch with me, I think, at my place. Or sorry, dinner. And again, I thought he was gay. I was like, oh, like this would be nice. Like, let's be friends. Like he invited me to like an event at his place, which was so fun in Apero. And I was like, oh, why don't you come have dinner at my place? And so he's just like lingering, and it's like almost 1 a.m. at this point. And I'm like, it's like a weeknight. I'm like, are you ready to go home? He's like, oh yeah. I was like, did you think you were gonna sleep here? Right? And then on the way out, this man had the audacity to kiss me on the mouth. I'm like, well, what gave you the impression that, you know? And ever since then, I was like, yeah, no. I'm not interested in friendship with men. Paris says, I mean, pop star, I guess in their mind, it's a double standard because Katie's doing stuff with other people. But Tom can do it. He's just not yet doing it, you know? So I don't like them trying to misrepresent it. Tom is open to hook up with whoever he wants, just not someone that they know, which I think is fair. And it's the rule for both of them. And they both agreed to it. Steph says, I feel really bad for Katie. Me too. Like she looked like ready to cry, honestly. And I don't even like Katie as a person. I think she's a very sadistic person herself. Oh, sorry, Bianca. I didn't see your comments. Give me a second. But in this moment, I felt horrible for her. Bianca on TikTok says, Sheena's trying to make a storyline for herself by starting drama. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you were here from the beginning or not, B. But we talked about how Sheena might be like demoted or something like that. And that is why she is like so thirsty to have a storyline off of somebody else's back. People don't like Brock and they don't want to see Brock on TV. So a lot of her like natural storyline is cut out in that alone. Goth Beauty says, Katie isn't doing anything with anyone in the group though. Exactly. They went below the belt. They are dirty. They are grimy and they are trifling. So she says some of these friendships are fake, similar to Housewives. That too. That too. That's what begs the question. Like, is this something that is being driven for TV? Right? Is this a producer-driven storyline to get people talking? Because obviously it is incredibly juicy, right? The divorce is juicy. This is juicy. Like Kanye and Ali is juicy. The potential for a connection between Lala and James is juicy. I don't know why James didn't just go for Lala after all this. Lala is still in love with him. He, I imagine, would drop everything for her too. Why are they not just getting back together? Why are they not giving it a fair shot? They've never given it a fair shot, you know, and now James has money just like Lala likes. And he's not like, you know, this like gross old man. Like she can like finally get with like a nice young man who's got money around her age. Sheena screams, pick me. Oh, absolutely. Pick me. She is the president pick me for sure. Casey says, I completely agree. I was never able to maintain a friendship with a straight male without the gout. Exactly. And it's really disappointing. You know, there was this nice article I read about how men tend to not see women as like full, complete people outside of like actual desire or like objects or something like that. It's very depressing, but in my experience, it's true. Gojo says that inhaler loop with Sheena was funny. I know. Oh my God, this little drama queen. I'm trying to find the gif of her and the penguin. Or Adam, don't you love me? You love me, right? I don't like the Lala. Pick me, pick me, pick me. Lala and James are two crashing ships. That's true, but I definitely see like a love there between them. But the thing is, they're both like, you know, on their sober journey and whatnot, even though James is doing it in a different way by not being sober, it wouldn't be great. But I do also want to revisit. I hope at the reunion we get a little bit closer. And I am wrapping up the recap, by the way, you guys. Thanks so much for joining up until now. I know we're a bit over time, but it's just been so juicy, and you guys' comments and questions have been so awesome. I hope that at the reunion we go back and discuss what it is that James said about Lala. The only reason he slept with her is because she blocked his point of exit and demanded he banged her. That is disturbing, and that is a very serious allegation. So I definitely want to see that revisited at the reunion, because I was disappointed in the way that it was handled in this episode, and I want more context on that. Desmond says, I think if James was a billionaire, then Lala would definitely. Oh, absolutely. Lala would go for a 98-year-old billionaire, right? she would go for anything with a little bit of coin, even if it's a full-blown gremlin, right? And you guys have already seen evidence of her doing just that. And don't forget, these girls already exposed her when she first joined the show that she was prostituting on boats and planes already. And she was already saying, I could give other people BJs for PJs. She is, in my opinion, a full-blown hooker. There's nothing wrong with it, but in my opinion, Lala is a full-blown hooker, just based on her own words, right? So yeah, if James had more money, she would totally go for him. But he already has a good amount of money from being on the show, just like she's got a good amount of money from being on the show. So why not? It's better than, like, settling for someone who's super unattractive just to find out that he has no money at all, right? What happened with Rand? She was out there putting her tongue up his ass just to find out that he's really not rich. So he's like looking for sucker. I'm really not rich. Heebie-jeebies. Heebie-jeebies, right? I got to find the penguin for you guys, Steph, in next week's recap. Listen, guys, this has been so awesome as usual. I'm going to catch you next week, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another recap of Vanderpump Rules, okay? Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you next week. Bye.